Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. And the ghost of Lorna Slater is still wandering the grounds at Holyrood. Yes, I know she's still there, but her time as a minister has been well spent, hasn't it? She's probably going to end up costing Scotland about £500 million in court costs, legal fees, the losing of various things, because she's such a brainless bimbette and couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery, let alone the deposit return scheme. Well, there's another legal blunder wending its way, likely going to end up in more court action, more costs. This woman really is special, and I don't mean that in a good way. I mean like special needs. This one is officials have revealed that there's been a bit of a legal boo-boo, a blunder, a cock-up, a mistake. God heavens, it's not surprising, isn't it? Because Lorna Slater's deer management law that she helped formulate and bring in is a complete bag of tits, to be honest. 2 years after the collapse of the DRS, 2 years after the collapse of the Butte House Agreement, 2 years after everything went really badly because somebody allowed Lorna Slater to make decisions, a woman who is, in all respects, retarded. Another mistake has come to light. It's going to get it's going to get back in court again. It's just unbelievable. Now the Scottish ministers now have been warned about the legal issues and the management problems, all considered, of a proposal to give a quango such immense powers over deer management. Now, I know there's a lot of people get very opinionated on this, but there is a problem with deer. You don't want too many. They do environmental damage. The barks will fall around the trees, and then the trees die, and so forth. But a briefing note was sent to the wise one, the bimbet, Geoffrey, who was then the Minister of Green Skills, Circular Economy and Biodiversity, whatever circular economy is. I think it's her running around in circles like a headless chicken, I think. But this was back in 2023, June 23. She was in charge of the Natural Environment Scotland Bill, which is still not through. It's still trying to make progress through Holyrood. It's been over 2 years. But it's such an awful piece of legislation written by someone who hasn't got the brain cells to do her own shoelaces up. But one section is particularly interesting because it enables Nature Scotland to take what they call proactive action to manage deer populations to support nature restoration. That's a very polite way of saying shooting them, right? Now, rural bodies, including the Scottish Land and Estates, have argued that this proposal is too ambiguous and it's unworkable, with no mechanism for differentiating between deer impacts and those of sheep, goats, mountain hares, etc. Damage is done, nobody knows who's done it. Oh, we'll just shoot all the deer, Now, after many freedom of information requests, long battles, court cases over freedom of information requests, Scottish landowners, yes, Scottish Land and Estates, rather, has been given sight of the warning to Slater that the civil servants issued. They didn't want this warning to become public because it would have shown that she was warned about something, ignored it, and still went ahead. Firstly, officials warned that significantly reducing deer numbers without corresponding reductions in sheep numbers, it will be, in effect, a complete and utter waste of time, effort, and, most importantly, public money. And the SNP has made it clear that there is no policy to cut livestock numbers. So there is a problem there. She was also told that increasing state intervention powers to go beyond cases where deer were causing deer damage was actually legally problematic. It was an overreach and it would be tested in court. And the briefing stated that this would be a significant shift in balance between public and private interests. it would leave the government literally open to prosecution and challenge under the ECHR on protection of property grounds. She's looked at this and in her infinite wisdom has decided, yes, but I'm far cleverer than that. I'm brilliant. I'm me. I'm Jeffrey. I'm the bestest ever. Look, I swing on ropes. Jesus, I wish it were true. But the bill contained the controversial powers that were introduced by the Scottish Government in February 2025, after a long time after that Bute House debacle went tits up with the Greens. The minister decided to press on with the powers, even though there was actually nobody then pushing the bill through because Jeffrey had gone. But basically, this would enable Nature Scotland to intervene in connection with nature and climate objectives on private land. And that can't be right. And so that's the lineup of a government overreach. Now, the Freedom of Information request was first issued by the SLE back in October 24 and was subsequently refused many times by Nature Scotland. SLE eventually got the appeal through the Scottish Information Commissioner David Hamilton, who then instructed that the advice be published. They didn't. He said he'd threaten court action. They did. They had basically failed to comply with the Environmental Information Scotland Regulations Act 2004. So they would lose the case because they were breach of the law. Good. And basically this has all come out. So what's happening now is this cock-up, this very ambiguous, written on the back of an envelope by a moron set of laws, is going to pass. And if it does, the Scottish Government will get sued to smithereens yet again by every single private landowner in Scotland. Gee, what it is to go through life as dumb as Lorna Slater. And the thing is, she doesn't even realise how dumb she is. She's busy sitting there going, la 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 la, as £500 million of court cases are batching up over her DRS. How many more are going to sign up with this law going in? Because the moment the Scottish Government goes in and says, oh, we're going to kill a rabbit or kill a sheep or kill a deer on private land, they'll get sued to smithereens under breach of the European Convention on Human Rights and under the breach of their own environmental laws from 2004. You can't win with these people. You can't win because they haven't got a clue and they just march blindly on thinking that they are inviolable. They're not. They're morons. And we can tell because the moron on chief keeps doing it. And so there she is, haunting Scottish Government 2 years after she was booted out because her legislations are just so awfully bad. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of Lorna. Let me know what you think of these bills, and just generally let me know. It's just, how could one woman be this dumb? Thanks very much. Bye.